Hello everyone and welcome to a new round of RRL GTR3 racing. We are at the Portimao circuit in Portugal with a 2 weeks delay. 2 weeks ago this race was scheduled but had to be postponed due to a RaceRoom update. But we are here now and the whole season has been shifted back 2 weeks. The most important thing to know for today is that the drivers will all be very prepared. They had 1 month to prepare for this race, so I'm expecting to see very close times in qualifying and a very close race as well. At the moment, if we look at the practice standings, just for your reference, we have Alejandro Forero, who did a great job in the last race at Zolder in his first RRL race. He is in second at the moment. Pavel Niri, who had a great battle with Peter Backus and finished second, I think, is in first at the moment. So the grid a bit mixed up here in practice, but everything will have to be seen still in the qualifying session. Schedule for today is a 15-minute qualifying session, followed by a 25-minute sprint race, then another 15-minute qualifying session, followed by another 25-minute sprint race. So 2 sprint races like we had at Silverstone in the third round of the championship, if I'm not mistaken. So that's set to be very close. No pit stops in these races, or no planned or mandatory pit stops in any case. So close racing from flag to flag, and it will be fierce for sure. We have 3 minutes left in the practice session, but let's first have a look at what has happened during this season already. Here are the standings. So in the Drivers' Championship, by winning at Zolder last time around, Robert Horvat took the lead from Peter Backus in the Drivers' Championship. Those are the 2 top drivers here. And then Vlastimir Lukas already with a sizable gap to the top 2. Pavel Niri very nicely in 4th position, and Nemanja Manojlovic in 5th position. As you can see, we had already 43 drivers participate in this championship, so a complete sellout in this case. And what is more important, Let's Kick Some Butts, a racing team in the Teams Championship, is being kept honest by HM Racing. They're only 30 points behind, and there's still 3 races to go. Today at Portimao, then in 2 weeks time at Zandvoort for a 60-minute race, and then we have the Nordschleife endurance round to round up the championship. Also, the length of the races decides decides what kind of points the drivers get. So you will get more points if you win at the Nordschleife than if you win in a 60-minute race. So everything still to play for at the top of these standings. We had some very nice driving already in the last few rounds, so I'm quite sure that if you have watched any of the previous rounds, if you didn't, you can still re-watch them on our channel, but not now, of course. You will know that the competition is fierce, the drivers are great, and the car makes are plenty. So we have all the different GTR3 car models in these races, which provide some nice variety in cars and also liveries. So having a look at the last race at Zolder, it was Robert Horvat taking another win, and that's if I'm not mistaken, let me check. Yes, that is 4 in a row. So Peter Backus won at Road America, then Pavel Niri won the first race at Silverstone, but then Robert Horvat took wins at Silverstone in race 2, Hungaroring at his home Grand Prix, Spa-Francorchamps, and then Zolder. So can he make it 5 on the trot here? That would be pretty special, and will put him in a good position to win this championship. But well, that's still 3 races and a lot of hours of racing to go until we know what the outcome of that was. Then as practice ends, We'll have a look once again at our 4 series that we run at RRLeagues. We have the GTR3 league, which you are watching today, our FR2 series on Sundays for some open wheeler action, and the DTM series in R Factor 2. The rest are in RaceRoom Racing Experience, DTM in R Factor 2, and then WTCC on Sundays in RaceRoom Racing Experience. Preparations are very much ongoing for the next seasons. It will be again 4 championships hosted at RRLeagues, so keep an eye out. We'll probably do some kind of reveal during the last stream of this season, and you will be able to get some great racing once again starting in January at rrleagues.com. So now let's get into this race here as the drivers start their qualifying session. We have the Portimao track for today. A very challenging track with a lot of elevation changes, difficult braking zones, and yeah, the long right-hander at the end of the lap is for sure one of the highlights, because it's quite a long straight, so that will be a passing opportunity into turn 1 if you don't get a good run through the Galp turn. Then the first complex is quite challenging. You want to be on the limit going through turns 1 and 2, get on the power as early as you can once again for the braking into Lagos, and then you go uphill through the bend to the Torre VIP hairpin, and going up to Samsung, also a difficult braking zone, quite wide quite a wide track here, so good passing opportunities. Then also the braking for Portimao is a notorious passing opportunities where drivers can go wide if they lock their brakes, because they will be braking while turning, and then the end of the lap where you can yeah, really set up some passes into turn 1. So keep this layout in mind, and let's have a look at the qualifying session here for this race. Let's put up the driver info and the current standings. So no laps done yet by the drivers, no times set, but let's follow Pavel Neri here. It's some good pace in practice. I think he finished practice in first position, and he's of course setting purple sectors as his first lap. But here you can see the very nice elevation changes on this track, which makes it very tough and always provides some good racing. It's I've raced quite a bit on this circuit, and it always provides some good racing. Pavel Neri being held up there a little bit, but here he comes through the last turn. Let's see if we can follow him for a lap of Portimao. So on the main straight, let's hope he continues his lap, but he puts in a 143 for now. So downhill here, you brake, stay as wide as possible, and then get on the power as early as possible once again through this kink, and then hard braking down to second or even first gear, get it turned in, and then immediately go to the right to set yourself up here for the uphill left-hander. Very tough, and that's the end of the first sector. Then here 24.6 as Horvath puts in a 142.3, braking for the hairpin, and then you want to get on the power as early as you can once again here. Once again, like turn 1, you turn in here, and then you brake hard for the tighter right-hander turn, going over this blind crest. So if any incidents happen here, it will be tough for the drivers to spot. And flat out through this kink, and then the hard braking zone, braking while turning. You want to make this as wide of a radius as possible, and then back on the power, downhill, uphill. You want to spot your braking marker here, so you get the car turned in. Oh yeah, so Pavel missed the apex there, so braked a little bit too late. And then here as well, get it turned in on the power as early as you can, because you are pretty much flat out from here until turn 1. Let's see if he can improve from his 4th position. He's 8 tenths down on Horvat. But we saw Pavel was held up a bit by a BMW in his first flying lap. What does he put in? It's 142.2, so Pavel Niri takes pole at the moment. Let's have a look at Robert Horvat then from the television cam. He's also finishing his 2nd lap. Can he retake pole position? Yes, he does, of 41.8, putting almost half a second between him and Niri. It's a very dominant lap. Let's see if anyone can beat that. That's a great lap by Robert Horvat. Once again, he sets the pace. Of course, there's no weight ballast or anything like that here in RaceRoom racing experience. So that's you can always count on lap times being the best what the driver has to offer. And Robert Horvat at the moment in a class of his own, actually. It's not very close at the moment, but it will be for sure, as we have 28 drivers on the grid today. We'll go through the whole list in just a moment. Here's David Torre in 9th position. He's a top 10 driver most of the time in this championship, so good consistent driver that always brings the points home together with his teammate Daniel Badcock, who I don't see on the grid today, if I'm not mistaken, or I am missing his car. No, Daniel is not on the grid. Oh yeah, he is, sorry, in 15th position. My bad. We also have some new drivers here today. We have Clive Britton driving with us, and Nedo Vili has raced in some other series as well in RRL, but his first GTR3 outing, if I am not mistaken. So we're halfway through this qualifying session, and Robert Horvat has the pole position, and as Greg Metcalf rightly says, as you could see here on the track map, that long right-hander will put a lot of stress on the front left, as will turns 1 and 2, as will Portimao turn. So the front left will really struggle here on this track. And well, the drivers only have to make the tires last for 25 minutes, so that shouldn't be a problem. But if they overdrive it, that could become a problem for sure. So at the moment we have Robert Horvat in first and Pavel Niri, Ralph Arella, good qualifying for him in the Mercedes for the moment, and Max Haas a bit further up than he normally is, so great pace shown by the old BMW. Then Alejandro Ferrero in 5th, Peter Bagos in 6th, Szabolcs Albertini in 7th, then Jess Forsberg in 8th. We have David Torre in 9th. Oh, there was a change there. Well, Torre in 10th, Petr Pek in 11th, filling in 12th, Britain 13th, Lucas 14th, then Britain, Clive, the Irishman, in 15th, Moravec in 16th, Stefan Riedel in 17th, Daniel Badcock 18th, Nedovili 19th, Nikolai in the 20th, Nikolai Hartub in 21st, Steve Carman, also a first in the GTR3 series, 22nd, then Aaron May, 23rd position, Paul Hudson in 24th, Sven Hecke in 25th, Greg Metcalf not doing any laps at the moment, he's still in the pits. He's in 26th position, and Xavi Ortiz in 27th position. So we have lost one driver, it seems. We had 28 before, but back to the times. Niri got a bit closer to Horvat. He's only 2 tenths down on the pole lap for now. So there is some potential still for a close battle for the pole position here at Portimao, as Jim Britton tries to improve on his 14th position in the Porsche 911. It's been a while since we had some sprint races. It's been since Silverstone, and those were real nail-biters. I didn't know where to look first, so that will be the case again as well today. So what can Britain do? Not a great second sector, but he keeps going, so that means the lap feels pretty good. He's in 14th now, crosses the line and stays in 14th, so no improvement, but he tries to go for another lap. Robert Horvat once again setting purple sectors for himself. Will he increase the gap to Pavel Neri? And then Ralph Arella already following 8/10 behind. Max Haas more than a second behind. So the guys behind Robert Horvat not getting any closer, they're even getting further throughout the season. Crosses the line, and a 41.8 still, so a bad last sector. And as I said, that last right-hand sweeper is a tough one to get right, and can lose you quite a bit of lap time. Pavel Moravec in 19th position at the moment in the Mercedes. He's in the last sector. Can he improve on that 19th position in the Haribo Mercedes car? Looks pretty good, I must say. But he stays in 19th position. Then we have Steve Carman in the BMW Z4. He's in 23rd at the moment, and he should be improving. He jumped in at the last possible moment here, so he's still learning the car and maybe also the track. Then Daniel Badcock in 17th. He was most of the time well inside the top 10 for the last races. So either the Audis are not really working well here today, which shows a bit. Forsberg, the first Audi in 10th position, Forsberg, and then Dore in 11th, Badcock in 17th. So possibly not a good track for the Audis here. Puts himself up to 12th. That's already a bit closer now. The three Audis are well, next to each other. We have 1 minute and 35 seconds to go, so whoever did not cross the finish line about 10 seconds ago will not get any more laps in. Aran May in 24th. Can he improve on his time for this qualifying session? We're back to 28 drivers. I think, yeah, Thomas Struhar, he was the one who was out, and he's back in the track. 22nd position now for Aran May, going very wide, so that will be his final lap. When the timer goes to 0, the qualifying session is over. You cannot finish your lap, so that's something for the drivers to take care of. David Dore finishing his lap. Can he improve on his 11th position in the Audi? Still in 11th position for David Dore. So that will be it. Most probably there's no faster times being set at the moment. Thomas Struhar, he's not on a flying lap, so he's just well, warming up for the race. in these last few seconds of the qualifying session. So Robert Horvat takes the pole here for race 1 at the Portimao circuit. Pavel Neri is alongside him on the first row of the grid. So now let's go to the countdown for this race. Everybody in the pit stalls and ready to go to the grid. And the race will start in 50 seconds. Let's see what this sprint race brings in this championship. Can Robert Horvat keep his lead? He will be on the outside line, so if Pavel gets a good start, he could force a move here to take first position. And we've seen Pavel Neri being very quick last race, and also he won his first RRL race at Silverstone, also in the sprint race. So that might be his cup of tea. We will quickly see as the drivers get ready for the race. And off we go. Robert Horvat has a good start, and there's some smoke, but everything clean behind, and Robert turns in for turn 1 in first position. First 4 positions stay as they are. Let's have a look a bit further back. Simon Fillingham in 15th position. Everybody keeps it quite clean. Someone going on the grass there in the Porsche. That's unfortunate. It seems to be Pavel Moravec rejoining the track. So an unfortunate incident there. And also Ludobir Nietzsche in the Porsche, now in last position. Greg Metcalf starting from last, already up to P23. Let's have a look here at the front of the field. Pavel Neri right behind Robert Horvat, as Dore is dropping back in the grid. Also Struhar dropping back. So quite some small incidents, it seems, here in these first laps. Here's David Dore, and once again his right light is not working anymore. He's had that in every race so far in this Audi. So finishing lap 1, we have Robert Horvat in first, Pavel Neri very closely following in second position. Can he make a move? Robert defends. And he keeps the inside. Can he keep it tight? Yes, he can. Sorry for the camera changes there. So these two clearly getting away from the back. Gap to Arella is already 2 seconds. But doesn't look like Robert Horvat is running away from Pavel Neri, so that will be a battle to watch here for the lead, as the gap is about 3 to 4 tenths, which is almost nothing. Sven Hecke dropping down to 16th position here. And Alejandro Forero in 7th position. Oh, just caught him at the bad moment, spinning off onto the grass in the M Sport Bentley. And rejoining the track in a safe way. Yes, he does. Rejoins in 24th position, right behind Ludobir Nietzsche. Oh, a bit of a tighter line by Pavel there in the final sector. Once again, let's see. Oh, the McLaren is a lot better through this last turn. That will be a real worry for Robert Horvat, who once again defends the inside line. And then the slipstream effect disappears, of course, for Pavel. Trying to go around the outside. But nice defending from Robert and fair driving by Pavel to not turn in on Robert in this case. Over the curbs. It's a 25-minute sprint race, but of course Pavel has to remember that there is some time to get past. Maybe he can, if he has the pace, he can take it a bit easier and stay with Robert and take him at the end. Because if you pass now, there's still 20 minutes for Robert Horvat to repass you. Here, Nedovili, 12th position on the inside in the hairpin. So close fights up and down the field, of course, as I predicted. Beck, Nedovili and Clive Britton. Nissan versus Porsche versus Ford. And it's really the track layout that is a star here, providing some good passing opportunities. Peter Beck going around the outside. Can he keep it there and be on the inside for that setup to the last turn? Yes, he can, so he makes a pass for 11th position. And once again we have to look at the front here. Pavel is almost through. He has to wait for a mistake by Robert Horvat. Oh, so close, almost touching, but he has to stay behind. So as expected, that turn 1 is the main passing opportunity, but you have to make it work if the driver in front defends like Robert Horvat and has some straight line speed, then yeah, you have to wait for a small mistake, wait for Robert to overshoot his braking point, maybe for lap 1, for turn 1, and go wide on the exit. I think that's maybe an opportunity, or even get a better run for Pavel Neri to make the pass. There's Peter Backus passing his teammate Manojlovic. They are 4 seconds down on Max Haas, so you have who just spun on his own, it seems. So Haas dropping back to 7th position, and Peter Backus up to P4. Now, of course, he's trailing Robert Horvat in the championship, so actually he should finish in front of him to stay close in the championship. Let's see if he could make that work. He has a 10 seconds disadvantage. Can he get close to Horvat, or is that pace a bit too much? Neri now a bit further down on Horvat than before, who goes back to the outside, but the move is not on in this case. For the Czech driver. Different line taken as well here by Pavel to try and get some kind of overlap with Robert. Then braking here into the hairpin. That's not been a passing opportunity at the moment. Greg Metcalf already up to P15 from last position. So great drive in the P4-5 Competizione. He is now behind Stefan Riedel in the BMW. So let's see what Greg can do. He's in the points already, so that's a good result for now. Also Daniel Badcock battling with Simon Fillingham for the top 10 spots. Looks to be quite close. Once again, we have a look. Through the last turn for Pavel. As you can see, he's 3.5 tenths behind, and then he starts gaining time, 1/10. Then into the slipstream of Robert Horvat, and he doesn't even bother to follow him into the slipstream. Oh, maybe a track cut there by Robert, going very wide for the entry. Seems Robert is quick in the right places on this track in the Mercedes. Back to Greg Metcalf. He's getting closer and closer on Stefan Riedl. Let's see if he can get up to P14 as we keep an eye out for the lead battle. We don't want to miss the pass by Pavel if he manages to make it, of course. And here a nice battle for P4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with Peter Backus at the front and Szabolcs Albertini trying to get past Nemanja Manojlovic. Can he set a good example for Pavel Niri? Not at the moment. Pavel dropping back a little bit as we are 10 minutes or 11 minutes, should I say, into this race. Very nice gaggle of cars here as we have Arella 3.7 seconds behind the leading pair, but not really able to get any closer as they are battling. Gap is even increasing, but he has a healthy gap to Peter Backus behind, so that should be manageable for our number one driver Ralph Arella to keep that podium spot. But once again, if it stays like this, of course Robert Horvat will outscore him and comes one step closer to dethroning Ralph Arella in that 20 race ranking at RRLeagues.com. If you have any questions in the comments, just let us know. We try to follow up a little bit and follow the driver that you want, or answer some questions about the race, about the league, about the cars. Just let us know, and we're here to respond to any of your queries. Niri now 2/10 behind only, going through turn 1. So I thought he dropped back a little bit, but he's back right on the tail of Robert Horvat. This will be a race to remember for both of these drivers, I think. And the best thing is, there's a second race coming. As we see Metcalf in 13th position, he passed Vili and Stefan Riedl in the last lap, so he's really moving forwards. Riedl is now in the last points paying position, as the top 25 is still within a minute, so close battles throughout the field, and someone to fight for every driver. That's also the strength of our leagues. We have full grids, and that means that there's a racing companion for all paces. We have the very fast guys like Horvat, Niri, Arella, Backus, and so on. We have several others. Then we have the midfield pack and also the back markers, who also have fun. We can see in the back that the battles are also close. Thomas Strua, for example, 22nd position. He's less than a second behind Paul Hudson, who just went off. So it's all very, very close indeed. And once again, Horvat, oh, onto the curb. We just caught that. Turned in a little bit too early, Robert Horvat onto the curb, and that's Pavel Niri through for first position. So as I said, wait for a mistake. Oh, very wide and very loose there by Pavel. What can he do? Can he? Does he have the pace to pull away from Robert Horvat, or will he have to look in his rearview mirror for the next 10 minutes? We'll very quickly see. And what was that pace advantage in the last turn? Purely the car, or was it down to slipstream effect on the car of Robert Horvat? We'll find out in the next 10 minutes. But he's already 8 tenths up on Horvat. So clearly pushing very, very hard. Pavel Niri, his fastest lap 43.2. And the same for a 43.0 for Robert Horvat. So he has the ultimate pace, Horvat, but he will not be close enough this time around to retake that first position. So great move by Pavel Niri. He was patient for about 15 minutes and finally got first place, a bit gifted by Robert Horvat, turning in a little bit too early and catching that big sausage curb on the inside. As we see our top 3 here on the main straight, and then there's a big 10-second gap back to Peter Backus. Still this gaggle of cars here. Peter Backus and Nemanja Manojlovic, the teammates for Let's Kick Some Butt Racing. Of course, 4th and 5th is a great team result to get further away from HM Racing. HM Racing, that's then Robert Horvat and Pavel Moravec, who are teammates. So Moravec is in 19th position and out of the points. So that means that Let's Kick Some Butt Racing team will eke out a bit more of a gap to HM Racing for the team's championship. Max Haas at the back of this pack here. Greg Metcalf made it up to P12. He now has a 7-second gap to Petr Pek in front. Let's see if he can make that up. Ooh, very different line there by the two teammates. Very wide there also, indeed. Not sure how the cut tracks work here on this track, if they are very tight or not in the last turn or in the first turn. But Niri really setting the pace. He's now almost 2 seconds in front of Horvat, so clearly he is quicker. You also have to be quicker to be able to stay with someone like that for 15 minutes, right on their tail, less than half a second behind. So now it will be a question of keeping the pace, keeping it clean, not hitting that inside curb, because that was what made the difference for him and Horvat. And a mistake is easily made, especially on this track here, where danger looms behind every crest. If we have a quick look from the cockpit cam of Robert Horvat, I'm not sure if they also are starting to lap some cars, but that will come into effect quite soon. Ortiz is 1:34 behind, so he's there or thereabouts. The gap is now 2 seconds, and it seems Arella is getting a bit closer again. And there's Daniel Badcock fighting with Simon Fillingham. Can he have a good slipstream run? It's not really getting any closer. Bottoming out here at the bottom of the hill, at the bottom of the crest. I'm braking hard for turn 3, get it turned into the right to set you up for the next left-hander. You're very difficult to get on the power because the car, as you saw Daniel there correcting, the car wants to, the back wants to step out. And Jas Forsberg, also in the Audi, is behind Albertini, Manojlovic and Bakos in that battle for 4th position, which is very, very close. As Pavel Moravec and his countryman Vlastimir Lukas are also battling hard. Horvat now decreasing the gap a little bit. So we have 4 minutes to go, so that should be about 3 laps left in this race. Jim Britton in 15th. He's closely behind Feely and Britton. Can he take those 2 spots and gain some valuable points for the Crew Chief Megacorp Works team? He's not flat out through this last section, but he gets the inside from Feely. Not really defending there, so he should be able to make the pass if he brakes in time and doesn't hit the curb. Yes indeed, so Britton now behind Britton in 14th position, and Horvat very, very close now. Once again, he was 3/10 behind, so maybe a small mistake there by Nieri. Not sure what happened there, but let's go back to Britton getting tighter lines than the 4GD in front. Has to be careful not to run into the back of him. Got a tight line and onto the power. Yes, that's Britton through for position normally, but he has to leave room. Now hard braking. Oh, a bit of oversteer in the Porsche, going very, very wide, but he makes the pass stick. That was on the limit there by Britton, but he made it work. He's now right behind Greg Metcalf in 12th position. Really struggling with the back of the car, Britton, with the back of that Porsche. Daniel Badcock still behind Simon Fillingham. And Robert Horvat very, very close to Pavel Nieri. 1 minute 40 to go, so that means after this lap there's 1 more lap to go in this first sprint race of today. Still one of the closer battles on track here between these two drivers. Seconds to go in this session, and doesn't look like Robert Horvat will get close enough to make a move. Peter Backus looks like he will finish in 4th unless his teammate passes him. So the field is more or less settled here for the end of the race. The next sprint race will have a different time of day. This race here is in the morning. Next it will be in the late afternoon. So it will be a different, bit of a different lighting from that perspective. Manojlovic and Backus battling it out for P4. But let's have a look at our race leader and most probably race winner. Rounding up the last turn, Pavel Niri, taking his 2nd win of the championship here at Portimao in the first sprint race. Now let's see if he can do the same in race 2. Can he challenge in the qualifying session, or will he try to get the same action done in race 2? So Pavel Niri, followed by Robert Horvat, then Ralph Arella, then we have Peter Backus and Nemanja Manojlovic for P4 and P5, Szabolcs Albertini in P6, Max Haas in P7, then Jas Forsberg P8, Simon Fillingham and Daniel Badcock P9 and P10. Petr Pek will finish in 11th position, Greg Metcalf in 12th, followed by Jim Britton and Clive Britton in 14th. David Dore, will he make a pass for 14th position on the last lap? Yes, he does, so extra points for David, who had a bad first lap. And I think he finished 14th, we'll have to see in the final standings of the race. Stefan Riedel in 16th, 17th is for Nedovili. Vlastimir Lukas in 18th. Thomas Struer in 19th, followed by Pavel Moravec in 20th. Then Steve Carman, Paul Hudson, Aaron May, Nikolai Hartog, his teammate, Xavi Ortiz and Sven Hecke. And then we have 2 retirements. That's Alejandro Forero. We saw him off the track at some point, but no idea what the problem for his retirement was. And then Ludomir Nietzsche as well. So final standings, and Dore classified behind Clive Britton, but only by 0.03 of a second. We went through the standings already, so a good first race. Everybody is now warmed up, prepared for that second race. Once again, they get a 15-minute qualifying session and then a 25-minute race. So I will leave you for just a second, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes to comment on the second qualifying session here in Portimao. So here we are back for the qualifying session for race number 2. As you see, the lighting is a little bit different here for this race, and the drivers are starting their first lap. Nemanja Manojlovic 26.1 in the first sector, making his way onto the final second sector. His second sector time now disappeared, so did he have a cut? Didn't see that in any case, but his lap being invalidated, it seems. Nedovili then, he is in first at the moment. He was first out then, I guess. So let's see what lap time he sets. He was not with the front runners in the first race, but nevertheless, let's see what his pace is in the Porsche. He's followed by Jim Britton. First position at the moment is for Peter Backus with a 43.6. Last times are coming in. Niri 42.4. Previous pole time was a 41.8, so that's more or less the time to beat, I would say. Nedovili struggling there. Pavel Niri 24.8, that's not a bad lap. Horvat quite a bit slower than Niri at the moment. He's being held up in traffic. He's right behind here, right behind. That must be. Who would that be? Not entirely sure. In the blue Ford GT. Should see him here somewhere. Anyway, Arella 5/10 down on the pole, sitting lap time. Stefan Riedl is improving on his own times. Had a good scrap here in the first race. So what can he do for the second one? Now Greg Metcalf can also join the qualifying session. So he made it up to P12 from last position. What can he do when he sets a qualifying time? That will be something to watch. Stefan Riedl finishing his lap. And up to P8. 2 seconds down on the pole lap, filling him in P8 now. 1.5 seconds down on Niri. If Niri can take the pole away from Horvat, that would be a real feat, I think. Pavel Moravec up to P7, so if that stays like that, a lot better position than in the first race, if I'm not mistaken. Stefan Riedl again improving. But especially Ralph Arella with a purple sector. That's right on board with him in the old Mercedes SLS. Over the crest, as you can see, it's completely blind there. So in lap 1, that's very, very scary if you're in the middle of the pack and you don't know what has happened before. And hard braking here, very tough braking zone, but good second sector. quite tidy. That's always a good sign. A bit of a lock up there, but onto the power. And now can he stay flat through the last turn? I had the feeling that Pavel Neri, oh no, could do it flat, but that might be wrong. So can he go faster than Neri or just get closer? That's the question. He just gets closer. 4 tenths or 3.5 tenths down now only on Pavel Neri. Robert Horvat is down to 6th position at the moment, and he's just starting a lap now. Let's follow Robert as well from the dash cam. See what he puts in. Good braking, back onto the power. Manojlovic up to P3. Forero up to P3 now, exactly half a second down on Neri. Purple first sector for Robert Horvat. But also Neri is improving. I'm seeing on my timing screens Neri is also improving. Time here behind this car. Not sure if he is on a flying lap as well, but he's quite a bit slower. Robert goes for the inside, not the ideal line, but looks quite fast. Purple second sector as well, very wide now, braking, getting the car turned in, very nicely done. I think this will be a new pole time if we can keep it together here on the final sector. Very slow there in the last sector for Horvat. Yeah, he even seems he even cut track. No, he just went slower. So P9 for Robert Horvat. He still has 4 minutes to go. Will he just do another lap here? That's the question. Neri also going faster, 24.6. Arella 6 tenths down. He's not on a flying lap, but he good second sector as well by Neri. 24.7 for Horvat, 24.6 for Neri. Let's compare those times. A 54.4 for Neri, and Horvat coming up to that timing point now, 54.4. Oh, and he loses it, so he will have to go back to the pits and restart his qualifying, which he does. Can Neri keep it together? He can almost go flat here. That's really the advantage of the McLaren. He just turns it in and deals with the understeer. Can he get below 42? I think he will. No, he also went slower in the last sectors. Nobody's improving. And we're 4 tenths off of the pole time of the first race. Steve Carman then in the BMW Z4, 25th position, but improving. So it will be a last lap dash to the line for these drivers who have 3 minutes to go. That's 2 laps normally. Once again, 24.5 there for Neri. Horvat on his out lap, down to P10. This is getting really tense. Max Haas going up to P2. So great performance by Max here in these 2 races. Great qualifying results, and well, an unfortunate incident meant he couldn't capitalize. He was at the back of that train. I think it was in P7, if I'm not mistaken. 54.3 for Neri, so he's faster, 2/10 faster than his previous lap, but now he needs to keep that last sector together. Makes his way into the last turn. Doorn up to P7, so the Audi improving. I didn't see anything wrong with that last sector, so Pavel should be improving normally, and he doesn't. So he pulled something out there in the last sector that he can't replicate for now. So some drivers already in the pits. Max Haas not doing any laps anymore. We have 1 minute 40 seconds to go. So anyone who has not started a lap now will not be able to finish his qualifying lap. Let's stay then with Robert Horvat, his first sector, a 24.6. 24.7 for Pavel Neri. So Robert Horvat is a little bit quicker at the moment. Can he keep together that last sector though? Okay, can both drivers do it? But Horvat really needs to improve a little bit on his time. He's 11th now. That's so far away off the pole time, 1.3 seconds. Ferrero spinning out, a 54.5 for Horvat, a 54.7 for Neri. So I don't think Neri will be improving on this last flying lap. Only Salvos Albertini is still running from the top 10 drivers. Let's stay with Robert Horvat, rounding up the second to last turn now, trying to get this last turn right, turning in very wide and getting on the power, and dealing with the understeer. What will his time be? Will he take pole, or will he just move up the order? Neri has aborted his lap, so no improvement from him. Over the line, and Horvat goes second fastest, half a second almost slower than Neri. So Pavel Neri takes pole position for lap 2. Oh, a big slide there for Robert Horvat. Neri, winner of race 1, takes pole for race 2. Let's see what that means for the run into turn 1. Let me get a quick drink for the start of the race. So now it's the other way around. We have Neri on the right and Horvat on the left. 30 seconds to go for this Portimao race 2, sprint race number 2. As a commentator in the background is also quite lively. And green. They all get quite a good start, it seems. Yes, Pavel Neri turns in first position. Max Haas keeps his third position. Very close, but clean through the first turns. And a bit of a gap already for Neri, half a second up. Already need to have a look a bit further down the field. That was a bit of a mess here in lap 1. Oh, there, I think it's Aran May. Yes, Aran May spinning and to the back of the field, but very close here into the braking zone for the hairpin. Cars scattering left and right, and Nedovili is now in 20th position. Very close. Nemanja Manojlovic in 9th position. So the whole grid a bit mixed up from last race. We have Britain, for example, in 6th position. We have Forero in 7th, Albertini in 8th. Manojlovic only in 9th position. Bakus is in 5th, so that's consistent. But Oh, very close, and a touch there by Simon Fillingham on Nemanja Manojlovic, who goes for the inside of Albertini, but he can't make it work. Let's have a look at the end of the first lap as Niyeri crosses the line in first, 7/10 up on Robert Horvat, and he's not close enough. And on in the back, Max Haas has to go defensive on Ralph Arella. Here they are turning into turn 1. Peter Backus is right behind. Chas Forsberg versus David Dore. With Greg Metcalf right behind, so he's in 15th at the moment. Very close throughout the whole field. Stream of cars from 1st until 28th position. Simon Fillingham in 10th position, trying to get past Manojlovic. Vlastimir Lucas behind, moving up, and Metcalf up into P14, taking advantage of Sven Hecke crashing out, it seems. Gap in front, half a second. You see them here at the front of the shot. Already a 4-second gap from Niyeri to Haas, so the top two really on another planet. Oh, very wide by Jim Britton there. And yeah, Niyeri really taking advantage of that that speed he has through that last sector, that last turn, which will make it very hard for Robert Horvat to line up a move if he can stay close enough, because that was the only opportunity for Pavel to get past. So Horvat will have to get creative if he wants to take a win here at Portimao. Going for the inside, Ralph Arella not making it stick, and now he's vulnerable to Peter Backus behind. Let's have a look at this from Jim Britton's dash cam. He's right behind Peter Backus, braking hard for Portimao curve and down the hill and back up, keeping it on the inside, and then it's here spotting a braking marker there for the line on the right. A bit wide there by Britton. So see other cars on the left there going down through the field. Now Arella is quite close to Haas. Downshift there by Britton, losing some time. Let's shift focus to Peter Backus. Is a bit close, very late on the brakes. He's a bit closer to this battle here. This is the closest on-track battle, it seems. Hecken and Peck as well for 16th and 17th. So good battles throughout the field. But this is the battle for the podium. So let's stay with this. Very wide there by Britton, trying to take advantage of the slow exit by Peter Backus, but there was no room to do that. But Britain showing some good pace here at the start of the race. Gets it turning nicely, misses the apex by a bit, but Robert still between half a second and 1 second behind Neri, so not very easy. But the Porsche seems to be a bit down through that last turn to make any moves stick. Vlastimir Lucas, he is battling with Simon Fillingham, who has Manolovic and Albertini quite close in front. So yeah, just look at that variety of cars throughout this field. We're already almost 10 minutes into this race, so the time flies past. But the game tells me Peter Backus is in a close fight, so let's have a look at that. And meanwhile, just quickly go through the grid. So we have Neri, Horvat, Haas, Arella and Backus for the top 5, then Britain for Forero, Albertini, Manolovic, Fillingham for the top 10, then Lucas, Forsberg, Dorhe, Metcalf, Badcock and Beck, Britain, Hudson, Hartog, Moravec, Carmen, Struhag, Riedel, Ortiz, Vili for the 25 first positions. Then Aran May and Sven Hecke and Ludomir Nietzsche have retired from the race. Oh, and I'm not looking, but Arella on the outside of Haas. Will he be able to make the pass, or will Peter Backus have other ideas for these two? And I want to see what Jim Britton is seeing here. He will want to just sit back and wait for drama to happen. Peter Backus gets past Ralph Arella, but can he stay there? That's the question. Britain gaining. Break on time in this case, and they keep it clean, very wide. Peter Backus, all of them, actually Jim Britton with a late lunge, but fair move there. And he takes, no, he doesn't take the position from Arella. He's on the outside now. Let's see, he now has his nose in front, but can he keep it on the turn-in? Yes, he can, and Forero is right behind Ralph Arella now. And Max Haas still in third and taking a bit of advantage of that feisty fight. Oh, and Peter Backus dropped out. Sorry we missed that. He's down in 11th now, so clearly he had a bit of an issue. Thought I saw a car spun there, but thought it was a back marker. So Haas in third, Britain in fourth, Arella in fifth, and Forero in sixth. That's our closest on-track battle for the moment. David Dorhe as well is fighting very closely with Forsberg in the Audi. They are behind Peter Backus, and Greg Metcalf in 14th is right behind as well. So we have some packs, some packs of cars. Very nice long front straight to have a good look at the situation throughout the grid. Haas already 10 seconds behind Neri with 10 minutes into the race. That's 1 second per minute. That's quite a big pace advantage there for Neri and Horvat, because he's still within a second, so he's not letting Neri go. Let's see if he can keep his head cool and keep that win and make it two in a row here at Portimao instantly making Portimao Pavonieri's favorite circuit, I'm sure. Here's Manojlovic on Albertini. Side by side, turning in, and then into the brake. Oh, bit of a touch, and another one. Oh, that's a shame. Into Portimao's corner. As I said, very difficult braking zone. Wide track, many lines into that corner, and that caused some mayhem there between Manojlovic and Albertini. But no sign of waiting there by Manojlovic, so he clearly thinks he is not at fault for that incident. I honestly can't judge on that either from here. It looked like a special incident. Maybe the stewards will have a look if the incident gets reported, of course. Jim Britton, he is still right behind Max Haas, not letting him go. Having a look at the inside, but Max very good at defending in his bright green old BMW Alpina. But now almost more than 2 seconds behind Neri, so is that strategic or is he just losing some pace? We'll have to see. We have 12 minutes of racing to go. Britton really showing his nose left, right and center, and he's on the gearbox of Max Haas. And Ralph Varela is once again right with them, so this four-way battle here, very, very close. Oh, good run here by Britton. Of course, Haas goes defensive. And there's not a lot Jim can do about that. Oh, contact! Oh, what a shame. Jim Britton hits off Max Haas, and I think Jim is also waiting for him. Just lost him. There's Max rejoining the track in 16th. What a shame. And also Jim Britton there in the foreground, joining the track once again. Will he wait? Yes, he does. He lets Max back past, but unfortunate for the two drivers in P3 and P4 in this race, and now down. Haas still 1 point for 15th position he will get, but big shame there for them. Small contact, but if you're driving on the limit, small contact even with that big of a wing will make you spin for sure. So that's one battle gone, but we still have Daniel Badcock. He gets past Simon Fillingham, and that's what he had been trying to do for the whole first race, and he just did it now. Or was he already in front? That's also a possibility, but nice gaggle of cars here at around the top 10 positions. Dorge also fighting with Forsberg. So the Audi is doing a bit better at the moment. They were struggling a bit in race 1, but now some good results. 7th and 8th is not too shabby for Dorian and Forsberg. Metcalf is right behind. His problem is straight line speed in the P45 Competizione. I'm sure he's great through that last turn in the aero sections, but he is losing time on the straight due to lack of power. But he's really compensating well for it, taking some solid points in all of the races almost. So and defending from Peter Bacchus. He was leading our championship up until the last race. So the car working quite well for Greg Metcalf, although it's not the best. He is making it work. Oh, now Peter Bacchus really starting to show his nose, showing that he wants to get through for that P9 and get some points for the team. Manojlovic is in 5th, he is in 10th. Marcus goes for the inside line, but that was just some theater to try and force Greg Metcalf into a mistake, which will most probably not happen. He's far too experienced to fall for that kind of a move and scare out. Fillingham now very close to Badcock. Getting some braking done. Oh, and Bacchus turned Greg Metcalf around, and they will both have to wait. Bacchus waiting for Metcalf to rejoin in 14th position. So unfortunately losing again some points, and Fillingham also making a mistake. He's beginning to struggle with the tires, it seems, and that gives Daniel Badcock that position back. Unbelievable. Has been working so hard for this, and then gives it away with a small mistake. We're once again struggling with the back of the car. Albertini now behind Badcock and Fillingham, and the lead gap is 3.3 seconds. So Neri proving he is the fastest driver around this circuit in his McLaren. Nothing that Horvath can do at the moment. He simply doesn't have that kind of pace of Pavel Neri. Albertini versus Badcock, who will come out on top? Can Albertini make the pass? Yes, he can, around the outside. Badcock being quite cautious, and is Fillingham going very, very wide here through turn 1. That's what you always see also in real life in this track. Turn 1 is wide open, and the drivers are taking advantage of that. And this turn 4 here, the uphill, is so very tricky. You need to really set up your car for it, because it will get loose on the power over that crest. Jim Britton dropping down, or well, back up to P15 now. He's right behind these guys. Once again, Fillingham in the same turn now on the outside, getting onto the grass. Didn't lose any positions, but he has Greg Metcalf right behind, followed by Peter Bacchus. So Bacchus waited for Greg after he probably spun him around. We didn't really see it on screen, but I think that's what happened. Three-way battle here for the final points paying positions. Bacchus in 15th. David Dorre and Jas Forsberg still fighting it out. The two Audis, of course, identical cars. No, sorry. It's Dorren is driving the new one, and guess what? He still has his two front lights. Going very, very wide here through turn 4, but not taking the speed advantage to make a pass on his fellow staff member Jas Forsberg. Horvat keeping the lead gap around 3 seconds, so he's not really losing out, but he only has 3 minutes left to go, so 2 or 3 laps here in this race. Time has flown past, to be honest. Oh, and there's the Haribo car stranded. That's Nedovili on the side of the road. David Dorre trying to look for solutions to his problem in front. Going left, going right, going tight, going wide. Oh, I'm starting to rhyme here at 10:30 in the evening. Good run by David. But Jas, of course, goes a bit defensive, opts not to. Now, maybe the door is open for David. No, not at the moment. Lead gap down to 2 seconds, so that was only briefly. Max Haas then behind Clive Britton in his first race. Having 2 nice races, I think, 2 clean races. That's most important for a new driver. Now getting past Max Haas, which is nothing to be ashamed of. He was, after all, on the second row of the grid for this race. Dropped back after that incident. Vlastimil Lukas in 6th position. He is trying to get past Manojlovic. We have 1 minute to go. So we have Niri almost completing his lap. So the next lap will be the final lap of this 25-minute sprint race. Packed full of action and great driving by these drivers. The lead gap down to 1.7 seconds. Is Horvat trying to make a last lap lunge, or will that be too late? David Dorre still trying, and Peter Backus behind Greg Metcalf through the last turn. Let's see if that straight line disadvantage is as apparent as it feels like for Greg Metcalf. Backus closing, 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 looking at the inside line. But of course Greg can count on some superior grip here through this section, so he can brake just a tiny little bit later, making sure that the move is not on for Peter Backus to stay side by side with him through turn 1. So close battles throughout, but let's have a quick look here at our race leader. He is rounding up his last lap of this race. Pavel Niri, bar any mistakes in the last few corners, will take his 2nd win of the evening, and will make it 2 in a row here at Portimao in his McLaren 650S GT3, followed once again by Drivers' Championship leader Robert Horvat, only 1 second behind, but he didn't have the opportunity to make any moves, not any mistakes by Pavel Niri. So a win for Niri, followed by Robert Horvat to end this Portimao race. Ralph Orella in 3rd. He will finish Alejandro Ferrero. Great result for him. 4th position. Then Vlastimir Lukas in 5th, Nemanja Manojlovic in 6th, Jas Forsberg in front of David Dore for 7th and 8th, then Petre Beck followed by Szabolcs Albertini and Daniel Badcock. Then it's Simon Fillingham followed by Greg Metcalf in 13th, Peter Backus in 14th and Jim Britton in 15th for the last points paying positions. Then unfortunate Max Haas in 16th, Clive Britton 17th position, Stefan Riedel 18th, Thomas Struhar will finish in 19th position, Steve Carman in 20th position from the United States of America, Pavel Moravec 21st, Aran May in 22nd, Xavi Ortiz in 23rd, Nicola Hartop in 24th, and then Paul Hudson 25th. And these are our retirements: Nedo Willi, Sven Hecke and Ludomir Nietzsche in the Porsche. So all in all, a great 2 races here at the Portimao circuit, and here's our winner of the day, 2-time winner of the day. We must say big congratulations to Pavel Niri, his 3rd race win in this championship, which will I think catapult him not up in the rankings but closer to Peter Backus. So here you see the final standings, the lead gap 1.1 seconds and then 15 seconds to 3rd position for Ralph Arella. Top 18 within 1 minute here at the end of this race, so that means it's very close racing here indeed as we go through the whole field. 3 DNFs, which is not too shabby. So thank you very much for watching this race with us. If you want to join us, visit RRLeagues.com. You can always try to sign up for one of our championships as mentioned before the race, and if you don't want to get as serious right away, you can always join our race club events, which are RaceRoom racing experience events using free or content from the starter pack, so cheap content to get racing in a good community with some organized racing, with some different content, cars and tracks that we can use. So that's it for now. I'm Miguel Santiago Caro for RRLeagues.com, and I will see you in 2 weeks time at Zandvoort for another 60-minute race, which will be live streamed live here on our channel. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell to get notifications to when we are going live with our stream. So many thanks for watching, have a good night, and see you in 2 weeks time for Zandvoort.